Okay, good evening. DK from Mr. V Amps here. Aliexpress do-it-yourself overdrive kit number 2. That's overdrive number 2. I just finished it, and unlike most of the stuff we do, I've never actually heard this pedal with anything more than noise through it. Just to verify that it was working after I got it put together, I just did the finger on the tip of the cable noise, just to see what it sounded like, or not that what it sounded like, but just to make sure drive, volume, and tone all did something, and they all do something. So this might sound great, it might sound like death, I don't know. Alright, here goes nothing. Okay, so this obviously has more bite and drive than Overdrive number 1 did. Let's back it down a little bit on the drive. We'll take that back down a little bit and see if we sound like a natural tube amp. Okay, so it's still a little bitey. Let's take drive way back. Okay, so it does mellow out. Let's go all the way to totally mellow. Okay, so just a little bit of bite there. So this is a lot hotter overdrive than the other one. Let's try it all the way wide open. Okay, so this is definitely a hotter overdrive pushing into distortion. Now, mind you, this is a little bit hotter guitar. Let's see what we get with the different tone settings. That's in the middle. Let's go back here. Okay, so that rolls off treble apparently. Let's bring it all back and see how bright we get. Seems a little too bright, but not by a lot, so that's cool. And then you do have a volume to set your level. So yeah, everything works. I think it sounds really good. It's a hot overdrive. It's hotter than I would have expected. It seems to be a little bit hotter and crunchier than overdrive number 1 was. But cool. It went together without a hitch. Most of the build will be coming up on a video, but by the time I got to put the last couple jacks on and stuff it in the box, the camera battery went dead. So if you do stick around to watch the build video and it cuts off, that's why. But yeah, I don't want to stop working. I'm like some kind of grunt at a factory. Once I get going on a project, I just want to keep going. But yeah, I'm liking this. This is pretty cool. So yeah, cool with me. And we'll go back to the clean sound of the guitar just for fun. Yeah, this thing rocks. That's pretty cool. There you go. So that's overdrive number 2. You want to watch it get built, stick around. Thanks for watching. If you need help with these, you want to build these, you want me to build these for you, whatever, go to our website and I'll see what I can do to help you out. Okay, and we're back with another Aliexpress kit. This is overdrive number 2, which they were kind enough to say there's a printing error on the PC board, and 474 should be 224. So, okay, So if I look here, there's a 224, but here it says 474, so that's one mistake. And then the other one says 50p should be 470, so I find the one here that says 50p and it should be 470, so they marked it. At least that helps. But this one looks like it's got a lot of stuff on it. It's got some diodes and two 741 chips. It says the chip says 741, but the chip on here says 4558. They're probably op amps. Anyway, let's build. I've got some background music this time, but it's all Indian if I don't shut up. I don't think I'll get in trouble. Last thing I need is somebody coming after ridiculously tiny me. Okay, so I got 1K resistors. I've got 4 of them, so we'll just start with that. That's a good value to start with. Where do 1K resistors go on this board? Okay, here's one. There's a second 1K. I see the third 1K already. And the fourth, so that's great. While we're putting in components, we're able to see where the next ones go. So great. Try to maybe put in, I don't know, 6 resistors and then we'll solder. Something like that. Sounds good. Try to be reasonable. Hopefully we won't blow anything up, break anything, or scar it with the soldering iron today. Actually, let me turn the soldering iron down a little bit in temperature from what we did last time, because we did a little plastic melty last time. That booster pedal turned out pretty good, so I'm happy there. Okay. Okay, so that's 1Ks. And I said we'll do 6. So here's 2 that are 220R. So these would just be 220 ohm. I see one over here. I'll tell you, these guys have done a little bit of improvement even since my last order. They're shipping more wire and they're shipping pre-cut small pieces with different colors on it. So that's an improvement. Maybe they listened to me discuss this while I worked on them. I wasn't particularly mad at the kits, considering they're like $20. But 220R, there we go. Okay. And now we solder. Okay. Usually I count when I'm soldering these, so I count, you know, if I'm doing 6 resistors, I'll count 12 solder spots, but I wasn't counting this time. And we were a little generous with the solder in a few spots, but we're going to come out just fine on that end. Put this on a clip. Loving these flush cutters. Why didn't we have these before? Okay, now we're on to our next value here, so we'll pick something with a whole bunch of them. I think there's like 6 or 7 of these things. These are the 10Ks. So 10Ks will go 1, 2. Should just pull a couple of them out at a time so I go faster, huh? Let's see. Another 10K. Now I can remember kind of why I don't usually put on music, not necessarily only for the copyright, but I have to remember what value resistor I'm holding into my hand, or I got to try to read it again, and sometimes trying to read these on the blue background, with these being as small as they are, is a little bit of pain, so then we pull out the meter to double check ourselves, and then we have to fuss with the meter that is the meter. If I had a wonderful, great, perfect meter that was excellent in every way, love it. So I'll tell you what, somebody out there who sells meters will want to sponsor this channel and send me a new meter. Great, and I'll tell everybody how great your meter is, because it's got to be better than the one I've got. Actually, the meter I have now is better than the one I had before, so well, there should be one more 10K in here somewhere. Let's see, where would that be? Okay, right there. Okay. Another one of those tiny boards that takes very, very minimal solder to get going on, which is fine, and I'm glad I have this fine tip. Makes life a lot easier than when we were soldering these with a potato. See how we do. Did I miss anything? Doesn't appear that I missed anything, so cool. Well, it looks like I really starved this joint right here. That one's just a little bit too thin, so a little bit more on there. happy with that now. So we'll go and click through. Whoa, I want to clip the pad off here. Be careful with these flush cutters. Okay, so far so good. On to the next resistor values. This is 47R, so 47 ohm. One down here. I'm actually surprised on how many of these where the transistors are marked backwards on the board. And I don't know if that's because they had to do a later part swap or board printing error or what. Admittedly, I'm a lot better with vacuum tubes than I am with transistors. And it doesn't mean we can't continue to learn and get better. And I do. I take time to read about this and watch people who know what they're doing. It's 100K. Okay, so there's certain people. I'm a little bit dyslexic now. That doesn't, mean I'm incapable of learning or anything, but if you gave me a theory book and told me to sit down and learn all about transistors and circuitry from a book, I'd probably be in trouble. I could read it, but I don't know if I necessarily learn it that well. But what really works for me is to watch somebody who knows what they're doing work. Alright, there's 100K. Watching somebody who knows what they're doing work is the best way for me to learn. So thank you to other YouTubers who are good at what they do and broadcast it. So this is 510K. 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 Yeah, there it is. I flipped it over, I saw 51K. I'm like, 51K? Well, there's 510K. That's kind of unusual value. I don't see 510K a lot. This is the 51K. Which went here. Okay, and one more. This is 47K. 47K, yeah. I think that says 47K. No, 4K7. 4K7, so it'll be 4.7K. So we'll look for 4K7 on here, see if we see it. There's got to be one more spot for a resistor here where I'm missing. Not up there. 4K7. There we go. Okay. You notice I had to read it 2-3 times. I wasn't sure. Initially I saw 47K, not 4K7. And that's what I'm talking about. So we try to take it slow and we do better learning from doing or watching people do or working with somebody who knows what they're doing. And there's a lot of people like this. In fact, one of the guys that I'm working with, he works in my shop and we teach. I've used to teach computer, and obviously I do computer repairs and things, and I've met a lot of guys that have, a lot of them have worked for me that have similar type of issues, and quite frankly they make very good technicians. They just need to watch somebody do it. So book learning ain't everything, man. Book learning ain't everything. Sorry, book learning people. It doesn't work for everybody. That one just looks a little thin, so I'll thicken that one up just a bit. A few of these look like they might be a smidgen close together to get a good read on, so if I need to, I'll clip a few before I go back and jump in there again. I forgot my little 47R on the top here. Isn't that weird? I can remember what value that was. Just looking at it on the other side of the board. It's one of the other things I've got a photographic kind of memory, so I can take something apart and wait a couple weeks and then come back to put it back together, and I can still remember how I took it apart. So everyone's gifted differently, and I don't necessarily consider these videos like necessarily a how-to guide, but maybe it'll help somebody. I've been able to meet with a lot of success with these Ali kits. Like I say, there's only one kit I had that I have not gotten working, and the vendor there actually was helpful. He was able to send me some pictures of one that was built, and there were a lot of changes from what the picture said, and the schematic they gave out was not accurate, not even close to accurate. So I don't know what was going on with that kit, but it's since discontinued because I went back to try and see if it was still around, see if they had updated any documents, and they had not. So I go back to that one from time to time and fiddle with it, but it's kind of like this. There's just a lot of stuff going on that board, and without a accurate schematic, tracing the schematics and stuff, that's not something I'm good at yet. Something I can get good at, I might get good at, but I'm not good at it yet. So we'll continue to it. There are some projects that I started one year, and through frustration and things, they were done a year or two later, depending on, you know, when I was able to get back in the right mindset. Okay, so let's try to sort our capacitors so we don't get all fuzz-brained out here. Okay, I've got 224Js. Okay. This is 105. Let's flip that up so I can see it. This is also 105. This is also 105. This is really hard to read. 470. 470. And this is 105, I think. Looks like the others, and it seems to have the same value. It's stamped a little funny. This is T47NJ100. And then we have electrolytics over here. We'll come to the electrolytics in a little bit, and then I have some diodes. I have 3 different diodes. It looks like I have 1 silicon and 2 Zeners. So, okay, let's start with the red capacitors. The red capacitors here are the 224J. So let's find 224 on here. And actually, I think it said, it was one of those 474 with this. See, 474 is a 224. So 474 is supposed to be a 224. Just take its word for it. Did they mark it? Yeah, that's the one that they marked on the board. See, it's next to the chip, and they put 224 here, even though it says 474 on the board. So that's cool. And then we should have another 224 for somewhere. Yeah, there's a 224 right over here. And these are non-polarized, so we don't have to worry about putting them in backwards. That's funny though, they did put a plus on there. Why would they put a plus on that? There's no need to have a plus on that. It's a non-polarized capacitor. That's 224 and the cap is 224 and it's not polarized. Okay. There's actually a couple of these electrolytics, I believe, that are not polarized. Yeah. NP 1 microfarad, NP 1 microfarad, NP. And then, yeah, so there are some non-polarized caps in this. Okay. This is 47NJ100, so I'm considering that should be 473. 473, that's got to be 473, that's the only one that would fit here. So, go with that. That one kind of fits right down flush to the board. I like when they do that. Okay. That's 3 components. Let's try to get a few extras in here. So the 50P is supposed to be a 470. Wait a minute. Wait, 50P is supposed to be 470. What does this say? That says 470, so that's this one. 470, that would technically be, the cap that says 470, that would be what, 47 puffs maybe? Something like that, yeah, maybe that's right. 470, 470, yeah, I think so, okay. That's close enough for jazz, anyway. Okay. So, okay. Yeah, that's this one right there. 47P is what they wrote here, and they wrote 470 here, yeah. Okay, good. So that was instead of the 50 puff, which 47 puff and 50 puff are almost alike. So it's probably just a shortage of things. Okay, that's 4 caps, and I've got 4 of these, and I'll put 2 of these down, and then we'll do the diodes and the others next. So this is a 105. Where would that go? I don't even see any other spaces for these caps. Oh wait, okay, hold on. 105. Wait, I got 10 mic, 4.7 mic. Oh, 1 mic NP, 1 mic NP, duh, 105. These are polyprops, so they're this would be 1 mic nonpolar. Duh. So the fact that they put the round marking made me think it was going to be electrolytic, but it's not. So okay, that's cool. We'll put 2 of these in. Now I love some of these that they marked, like this says 1 mic and it has a polarizer on it. It actually has a polar. And what are these little things? These are got to be bigger 1 mic. It's 4.7. This is, that's what, probably a 10 mic. And that should be probably another 4.7. 50 volts something. 1 microfarad. 1 microfarad, 50 volt. This is 1 microfarad. This is 4.7. And this is what is that again? I said what it was and then I forgot. That's a 10 microfarad. Okay. So this one doesn't say NP, so it should be 1 microfarad polarized, because that would be this one, right? Okay. Yeah. Okay, now I'm, again, dumb, look at your sheet. Okay, here we go. I missed it again. See where it says 1 microfarad NP? That's also 105. So, yeah, we're doing cool. We're cool. Okay, so 1 microfarad. plus going in the right direction. Gonna push that all the way down. It needs a little bend so they don't fall back. And we'll have another soldering fest here. Looks like the sheet is easier to read than the board is, even though it's a photocopy of a photocopy probably. But, okay, sometimes we work with schematics that have been scanned in PDF even though they're 50 years old and they're on crusty, rusty paper you can barely read anymore. But somebody's nice enough to PDF it so we're not totally in the dark. So even if we have to stare at the screen and fuzz a little bit, do what you gotta do, because it's better working with something than nothing, right? We're probably gonna have to change the record after a while. This is some indie electronic group. It's new music to me, it doesn't seem too bad. I like people who do their own thing anyway. And music should be independent and free and kind of do your own thing, so it doesn't mean everybody's going to like your music, but you do your own thing, but that's okay. Not everybody likes my music. They love my music now. I'm probably not a great recording artist, but I can be a good entertainer, which is kind of backwards because you wouldn't think so. Sitting here watching my videos and me staring at solder doesn't really seem that entertaining. But anyway, okay, so I think we're making good progress. This is good. Right, this is good. I'm happy. Okay. Do some snips here. Watch the leaves fly across the room. A few of them are doing that. I think we're good so far. I don't see any missed spots or anything. I think we're good. Okay, back to work. I've got some more of these 1 microfarad non-polar, aka 105s. So put those 3 in. It doesn't want to go all the way down. Helping a little bit. Well, it doesn't matter. It's shorter than the electrolytic, right? It works. Alright. Let's see, now there's 2 of them up here that are 1 microfarad non-polar, and it says I should lay them down, so what I'll do is I will solder them up a little bit. So they're up like that, and then after we solder them we can fold them down, right? That makes sense. Because apparently we're going to need some clearance for the jacks I'm bending on this. And see, that's 3. We'll put this one in, which is this the 10 mic? I know I've read this like 3 times and I can't remember. 10 microfarad, 50 volt. Remember, if you put an electrolytic capacitor in backwards, you are 1 less electrolytic capacitor in your collection, because they will go boom. If you like to watch things explode, you can watch a different channel. I don't like to blow things up. Sorry. I'm not about... it has nothing for me. It has nothing to do with like really ethics. I just don't like to blow things up for ratings and cheap views. I just prefer to try to do things right and maybe help somebody. So this one I'm supposed to lay it down, so I'm going to just stick it in there at 90 degrees. Now I'll probably want to lay some... Is that actually going to stay right in? Oh, beautiful. The way those leads pinch, that thing's going to sit right in there. How cool is that? Lucky. Did I solder that one already? No, it just looks like it. Those leads fit into that hole so snugly that it doesn't look like there was, you know, airspace, so it doesn't look like it had been soldered yet, but it hadn't. Okay. I think we got them all. I don't know, maybe you can tell from my earlier videos to today that I'm getting better at this as I go. But, you know, you get better when you practice. And the way to practice is to do something. And make a few mistakes, fix your mistakes, and go back and do it again better the next time. Okay, so these are the two I'm supposed to lay down, so I can bend that 90 degrees and that'll lay flat, and then I can bend that like 90 degrees and that'll lay flat. So those two are laying flat and they're not going to touch anything, they're not touching anything, whatever, so they're part of our circuit. Okay, so that takes care of resistors and capacitors. Now we'll do diodes. Now one of these is a 4004, which is the silicon diode, because there's 4004, 4001, those are silicons. And then the other two are 1N4148s. Okay. That'd be our Zeners then. So come here. Okay. And then these are polarized too, so in this case the polarization on the 4004 is silver stripe because the diode is black, and then these that are sort of a clear orange color, the black stripe is your polarization on those. These have such thin leads. Goodness. And then we gotta do the chips next. Yay! Chip sockets. I like that they give me chip sockets. Chip sockets are great because that way we don't risk barbecuing a chip while we're working on this. And of course that's barbecuing in the terms of breaking it and ruining it, not cooking it so it tastes nice and sweet and smoky. But that's interesting, that one pad is square. All these pads are square on the bottom. I think they did that to indicate the polarization. Make it easier to ID. It's okay. Just as easy to solder to a square pad as it is a round one, pretty much. Function over form. Okay. So that looks pretty good so far. Yeah. We just got chips, and then we got components, and we're ready to move on to the next stuff. We're cruising here. Okay, so let's see what we can do with this one. This goes this way, because you can see the little chip things there, so this one goes this way, and then this one goes the other way. This one's got a chip half stuck in it. I have to see if I can devise a good methodology to get this to stay in the hole while I solder it without frying my fingers. Let's see. Let's see if that'll tack. Sometimes they'll tack for me, because I don't have an extra hand to work with. So I'll just put a little drop of solder and just touch that there and see if she'll stick. Looks like it did, so cool. Try that trick again on the other corner. Okay. I'm going to try that over here. Give it a touch and see if it'll stick. Hope so. Do a far corner over here. And we'll burn our finger. Great, so we knocked that one loose. This one, the first one tacked good. This one didn't want to play ball. So let's try that again without putting our fingers on it this time. Okay. I think that's enough to make that one stay. Yeah, okay, they're both staying in the sockets now. And they are oriented correctly. Yeah, so they're oriented correctly, they're flush in the sockets, and they're tacked, so I can go around and solder them. Now, if you're soldering a chip, it's a good idea to take breaks between pins and zigzag to try to distribute the heat so you don't burn your chip up. And I'm doing it anyway out of habit, despite the fact that we're soldering a socket and not the chip in a socket. Now granted, there's a lot of soldering kits out there geared strictly for people just getting started, where the pads are extra big and there's more space to work in, and that's all good and well, and I think that's fine. Thank you to companies like L&Co and things for producing those. But at the same time, I think it's probably more beneficial to solder something that you actually want, spending a lot of time soldering a thing that just makes beepy noises probably isn't as much fun as doing something more like a stomp box, or something you can actually use when you're done. Because electronic toys are fun, but it would be more fun to make a robot than it would just to make a little thing that goes dee-dee-dee-dee when you put a battery in it, An annoyance device, that's what Overtone is. Okay, so in this case the dot goes in the same direction as the chip cutout, but you already knew that, right? So. And these chips are 4558D, which agrees with the sheet that calls them 4558, so I'm assuming D is just some manufacturing thing. They're probably op amps. And again, I don't work with solid state stuff every day, so I don't know every component by brain. Yeah, pins a little out of alignment. I'll bend them in and not whack them out of there too much. Keep them going in the socket, darn you. There we go. Okay. All pins in the socket, 2 chips oriented the correct direction. I suppose potentiometers are next, huh? Potentiometers and the LEDs. So we got our wires. Alright. Okay, so let's dump this bag of goodies out and see what we have in here. We have 20K 5B504 504 50. That's the other one. This is 20K. So 20K is going to be tone, and then volume is going to be 100K. So yeah, this is, it says 500K. So 504, 500. Okay. Whatever. So we got to put leads on. Let's see, the 504 only needs 2 leads. but everything else needs 3 leads. Okay, cool. So let's get our makeshift vise. Where did our makeshift vise go? There we go. Some MacGyver vise there. Just trying to straighten them pins out. Tin each of these. Okay. So we'll make red number 1, and these wires are pre-tinned, so that makes life easier. Let's get the excess solder off the iron. This one will go up there. I think that one went on without a hitch. How does that actually look? Good luck. Fortune found you today. And we'll do 2 in gray. The other kit gave me white wire. I'm gonna get gray wire in this kit. Who cares, as long as it works, right? That one tack on good? Oh yeah, that tacked on beautifully. Alright, now we'll take the third one. And choose black wire. That way we have them all separate. We can tell what's what, right? Okay. And then we inspect our work. So this is the 100K pot, which is for volume. That looks just peachy. And let's see, the volume pot's going to go here, and then it's got to go to the, see, it's going to go straight up to about here. So the leads are definitely excessively long, but not ridiculously excessively long. So we'll just take that much off of them. I don't like to try to stuff a billion. Oh good, this wire's heavier than the wire in the other kit that I did earlier. So, okay, strip it with the knife. I think I'm going to have to try to tighten these up very carefully when we tin them, because I think they're going to have trouble going through the hole. I'll tell you what we'll do to save time is, rather than watching me tin wires, which is boring, I'll turn the camera off and I'll tin the wires and then we'll come back. Okay, so to accelerate the process, I took the time to put leads on the LED, the input and output jacks. I shortened the wires, then I got the ones on the pots. So yeah, that saves time. So let's go with this. So the volume pot is the 100K, which is the one I'm holding, and they're labeled 1, 2, 3, so that's going to be like this. I put 1 to the red wire and 2 to the gray wire and 3 to the black wire, so hopefully we didn't put too much tin on the end of this, and this should go right through the hole. And we did put a little bit too much tin on it, so unfortunately that's just at the end, so we can just snip a smidge back here. Not quite, still got a little bit too much. Let's see if we can smooth that out with a little bit of touch. See how we did. That's the problem with tinning some of these wires, because these wires are just a little bit on the thick side for this project. There we go, there's 1 and 2. Which is going to fight me too. Lovely water sounds from upstairs. And 3. And 3's going to not want to fit. There we go. Got them all 3 fit through the hole. And we have to hope they all stay in place long enough for me to hit them with the soldering iron. Now, all of this stuff is already tinned, so my smartest bet would be to get a little bit of tin on the pad first and then creep it over to the wire, because it's all going to bond really fast. Okay, that's in and nice and flush, no exposed wiry mess here to have to clean up later, so good stuff. So the pot for tone, which is the middle one, yeah, so it'll go up there, probably about there, right? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so the one for tone is, well, it's going to be the only one with 3 leads on it, so it's got to be the 20K, right? Yeah, it's a 20K. So, okay, so this one was 1, 2, 3. This one is 2, 1, 3. So this one's got a little bit of a different order on it. So there's 1 in the middle, 2 on this side, and 3 on the far side. So, okay. That's cool. Put that in there. Cool. Same kind of result. We don't have exposed wire sitting everywhere, and that one's actually pretty flush. I didn't have too much extra lead there. So now we just have the gain, or drive, or whatever you want to call it. It's called gain on the circuit, so I'll go with gain, and we have 1 and 2. So gain 1 would be the red one, and gain 2 will be the gray one. I'm so thankful they gave me the colored wire. Like, wire and color is so much easier because you can make your own little scheme and keep track of where you're going. So, big improvement. Thank you, guys. It's an improvement over the last 2 batches of kits I've gotten from y'all. And we're going to be building the Mac Daddy of their kits next, actually. I bought the most, well, not the most, but the touted kit that's supposed to be their big deal. I'm not going to tell you what it is, because that's my secret. I like secrets, when they're fun secrets. Okay, and just for later, I'm going to take these nuts off of here. The mildly annoying, we have this little speed bump here on these pots, which is designed to keep them from turning when you're putting them into an enclosure that has a little hole or a indent for said speed bump. This particular enclosure does not, so sometimes these pots will sit at just a hair of an angle when you put them in. Mildly annoying, but very mild, considering that these are small and they fit in the enclosure fairly well. The smaller the pieces, parts are, the easier they are to get into the enclosure, and that can be a challenge. So let's do the LED. This one's got some pretty wild jumps here. The plus of the LED is way over here, and the minus of the LED is way back here. So technically the LED's light, I could probably have a short red wire and a longer black wire, and that would work better, but did I think to do that? No, I didn't, so we'll see. We'll get it in there. Okay. And since these are at such extreme ends of the board, I don't know if they're going to want to stay long enough for me to do this. Done. Yeah, the LED's got to go way up. Whoa, is that one wire? Is that going to be long enough? Where's the LED? Oh, the LED's smack dab in the middle. The LED's going here. So yes, that's good. The wire lengths are okay. Yeah, think about that while you're working on these, because it's easier to fix a mistake before it manifests into something worse. And of course, like I thought, getting these wires to stay in place, Solder them might be a challenge, so we'll go back and reseat the black one in a minute after we solder that one in place. Okay, now we'll go back to LED minus and put that here. And I thought of one other thing while we're playing musical wire orientation. Okay, that's good there. And I'm going to put the input jacks in. When I put the input jacks in, I'm going to actually snake the wires so they go up here, because the jacks are going to go in this area here, and they're probably, I don't know if they're gonna want to mush that stuff down. Maybe I should. I'm debating whether to put this stuff under the jacks or yeah, there's going to be more real estate at the bottom of the jack, I think, to get that through. So it'd be best for me to fold these down while I do the others. Okay, so we'll lay those down and we'll put the other ones in. So I'm going to go change my music and then I'll be right back. Okay, so what next? It's either the battery clip or the jacks. Let's take care of the battery clip and just get that out of the way. So they give me the little hook shot for the battery clip way over here, but the battery itself solders way down here. So, okay. I'm glad it's a long battery clip. So we'll go down, and we'll go back up. And we'll see if we can reach all the way down there. And we can without issue. So, move that out of the way. This is going to be a very wiry thing here, I can tell. I can already tell this is not going to be an easy adventure getting this in the box. It's going to be one of those where you push it in the box and you simultaneously talk to yourself, give yourself a pep talk while you're trying to put it in the box. Okay. That's good there. So we'll pull the slack back here and see how low we can get that thing to lie. See if we can get it to lay like down under those caps and stuff, so it's not giving me any clearance issues. I don't want any clearance issues. So I already tell I'm going to have clearance issues. So let's try to prevent as many of them as we can. Okay, I think that'll work. Looks good to me.